because it was cheap. Not need some worm cheap. Not motivated seller cheap. It was wrong. Cheap, the kind of price that makes people tilt their head slightly when they hear it, then follow up with questions I didn't want to answer. It sat on a quiet street where every other house looked cared for, fresh paint, trimmed hedges, lights on, timers. Mine was older, faded, empty, but I lived alone, and I didn't need much. I told myself I'd fix it up over time, replace the carpet, paint the walls, make it mine. The first week, everything felt normal. The house made the usual sounds, pipes sticking, wood shifting as temperatures changed. At night, the wind brushed against the siding. Nothing unusual, nothing that made me uneasy. I slept well. The second week, the noises started. At first, they were subtle, soft creaks coming from inside the walls late at night, usually after midnight. It sounded exactly like an old house settling. Everyone says old houses do that. I even looked it up online, just to reassure myself. The explanations fit, so I ignored it. Then the noises developed a pattern every night, without fail. At 1:40 a.m., I heard 3 slow knocks, not on the front door, not on a wall I could reach. They came from inside the house, deep, hollow, as if someone were knocking from behind the drywall itself. 3 knocks, a pause that lasted just long enough for me to hold my breath. Then 3 more. The first time it happened, I sat straight up in bed, heart racing, listening for footsteps that never came. The second night, I checked every room with the lights on. Nothing was out of place. By the third night, I started watching the clock. La 1:39. My chest tightened. La 1:40. Knock. Pose. Knock. 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 I barely slept after that. One night, I decided to record it. I left my phone on the nightstand with the voice memo app running. When the knocking came, I felt a strange sense of relief, proof that it wasn't just in my head. The next morning, I played it back. There was nothing. No knocking. No background noise, just my own breathing. That was the first time I felt genuine fear. That Saturday, I noticed something else. Small things were different. My shoes by the door were facing the wrong direction. A kitchen chair was pulled slightly away from the table, just enough that I noticed it. The attic hatch, something I never used, was cracked open by about an inch. I told myself I must have done it without realizing. Stress does strange things to memory. Still, I started locking my bedroom door at night. A few days later, I woke up and stepped into something cold and gritty. Moth. There were bare footprints across my kitchen floor. They weren't random. They came from the back hallway, crossed the kitchen and stopped right outside my bedroom door. I called the police. 2 officers arrived and searched the house room by room. They checked the doors and windows, no signs of forced entry. The attic was empty. The basement showed nothing unusual. One officer suggested maybe I tracked the mud in myself. I didn't argue. I just wanted them there. Before they left, one of them asked a question that didn't make sense at the time. Has anyone ever done renovation work here? Additions, repairs, anything not original? I told him I didn't know. I'd only owned the house for a month. He nodded, wrote something down, and left. The knocking stopped for a few days after that. I almost convinced myself it was over. Then, a week later, it came back. But this time, it wasn't in the walls. It was under my bed. 3 slow knocks. So close I could feel them through the mattress. Both. 3 more. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I stared at the bedroom door, waiting for it to open. It never did. 2 hours into the inspection, the noises stopped. The house went completely quiet. Then the contractor came upstairs, his face pale. He told me to grab my keys and leave the house immediately. Behind a false panel in the hallway closet, he found a narrow crawl space. It wasn't on the blueprints. It ran vertically and horizontally between the walls, connecting the attic to the basement. Inside were blankets, food W wrappers, empty water bottles, a bucket. Someone had been living there. The police returned. They searched the crawl space thoroughly. This time, they found more evidence sold. Clothing, cigarette butts, and handwritten notes scratched into the wooden beams. Dates, times, observations, and one sentence written over and over again in shaky letters. Don't make noise. He sleeps at 140. They never found the person. No fingerprints, no DNA they could trace. No neighbors reported seeing anyone come or go. But they did confirm one detail that made my blood run cold. The crawl space opened directly above my bed. The knocking wasn't random. It wasn't pipes. It wasn't the house settling. It was him checking if I was asleep. I moved out that same day. The house was sold again. 3 months later, the listing described it as Kit Interior, recently inspected.